everyone currently talking about The Last of Us, it reminds me of a zombie movie I watched a few years ago called Warm Bodies. I was on a zombie media streak, so I was watching all the movies about zombies and all the TV shows about zombies, and after watching Santa Clarita Diet, which was wrongfully cancelled, I will add, in the recommendations was the best zombie movie ever. It is not the best zombie movie ever because it is quality-wise the best zombie movie ever, but I was laughing hysterically throughout it at how absurd it is. It was an interesting concept to say the least. I'm just going to explain to you what it's about. You know how they have all these supernatural romances with the vampires and the werewolves? This movie gives you an insight into dating a rotting corpse, aka a zombie. At least with vampires, they are technically dead bodies, but they are not decomposing, and they can, have a shower. None of the zombies in this movie have ever touched water that has not come from the sky. And what could be sexier than being able to see the skeleton of your significant other peeping through their skin? I think we found the winner, the world's sexiest man next year, this rotting corpse. This movie starts a decade after the beginning of a zombie apocalypse. Zombies have basically taken over and the humans are living scattered around in guarded camps with giant walls. Kind of reminded me of Attack on Titan. This is the main character, R. The reason he is called that is because he does not actually remember his own name, only that it begins with the letter R. He is part of a group of zombies that lives in an airport. R decides to go hunting for food with his pack, called Swarm. I don't know the correct term for a group of zombies. Colony? Maybe it's murder. Murder would make sense for a group of zombies. This murder of zombies are hunting. Whilst looking for food, they bump into a group of humans who are out looking for medical supplies. When R sees this group, he immediately notices this human girl called Julie. It makes his heart beat for the first time since zombification. Imagine being so pretty that you made a corpse's heart beat. I'd put that on my resume. She could have been a doctor if the zombie apocalypse didn't happen. She could have been saving lives. Get into a life-threatening car crash. Julie over here, you'll see her and be saved. She would charge you for it though, like a lot of money. The humans and the zombies clash, some of the humans die, and the zombies die? They're even deader. During the battle, R kills and eats a guy who is, or should I say, was Julie's boyfriend. When R eats the boyfriend's brains, he's able to see his memories of Julie, and R gets even more attracted and decides to save Julie from being eaten by the rest of the zombies by smearing some form of zombie goo on her face. We are going to be taking a break from talking about this zombie romance to talk about a different zombie show that I mentioned earlier, Santa Clarita Diet. I am still mad about it. It has been several years since the worst day of my life happened, where it was cancelled on such a big cliffhanger, and I have not gotten over it. Every time I see Drew Barrymore, I cry again. And now back to what we're actually talking about in this video. R and Julie hide out in an airplane, which R seems to be living in when he's not going around with his murder of zombies. Julie doesn't trust him, which is understandable. If there was a lion in front of me saying it's going to save my life, I would be hesitant to follow it too. They also still can't communicate. R is mainly just grunting at her, something similar to a word. The two of them play video games and listen to music, and they start to grow closer. Whilst Julie and R are there, they get attacked multiple times, and they realize Julie cannot stay there any longer or she will die. So they decide to go on an epic adventure back to the human camp. As they spend more and more time together, R gets better at communicating, and he remembers how to talk. When they get into this neighborhood to set up camp, R decides to reveal that he ate her boyfriend. He has slowly been gaining communication skills. Could he not have gained any form of common sense that telling a girl you slurped up her boyfriend's brains like it was a slushie would not end well for you? Yeah, Julie leaves after that and decides she'd rather travel by herself instead of with R. R is not a zombie to give up. He goes to try and talk to Julie again, so he breaks into the human camp. Julie forgives him, which I found weird. She's known her boyfriend for years and she's known R for like 2 days. Julie decides to tell her dad, who happens to be the leader of the camp, about R. That obviously does not go well. So Julie and R have to flee so her dad doesn't kill him. Would you believe someone if they said, you know, the zombie that has been murdering your friends and family for the past decade, they're now gaining their humanity back, so we have to forgive them and cure them? No, you'd think that person's crazy. Before R got back to Julie, he convinced some of the airport zombies to come with him to get cured. So they're all just waiting to be cured when a group of bonies attack them. The bonies are the zombies that are further in their zombification journey. By the way, they don't actually call it zombification. I just made that up because there's no other way to describe transforming into a zombie other than zombification. The mega zombie, I'm just making up things. Anyway, the mega zombie, also known as Bonies, tried to kill R and his friends for being traitors to zombie kind. And unlike villains in movies and TV shows, they don't give you a dramatic speech about their evil plans. They just screech and try and rip your face off. So we have to assume their reasoning is because of betrayal. I feel like if Dr. Draken from Kim Possible stopped explaining, maybe he'd actually get through it. They eventually defeat the Bonies and they all live happily ever after. Psych, Julie's dad shoots R and she has to plead for his life. Then they all realise R is bleeding and zombies do not bleed. So her dad realises he really must be coming back from the dead, so they save his life. I have one question. If zombies can't bleed, what did R wipe on Julie's face at the start of the movie? Actually, I don't want to know. I feel like it would just make me nauseous, so I will live the ignorance of what that zombie goo was made out of. Anyway, they all live happily ever after, for real this time, because all the zombies are turned back into humans and they rejoin society. And all the Bonies disintegrate due to starvation, which, don't you love a realistic ending? There would be no issues, no discussions, it would all just work out perfectly for everyone. The end. Oh, and I bet you're wondering, what was R's real name? It was Romeo, because it was meant to be Romeo and Juliet. Romeo, Juliet, coming from two different worlds whose father would never get it, but they both survived at the end. Sorry that's a spoiler for Romeo and Juliet. Sorry you've never made it past the beginning of the story. Warm Bodies gave us the ending that William Shakespeare couldn't. I know he's weeping in his grave thinking, why couldn't I have done this? This movie is so funny to me due to its utter absurdity. None of this makes sense. Absolutely none of it. And even if you ignore zombie logic of the movie, the human logic is also very unlikely. Trying to believe that all these humans would just get over their hatred of zombies after a decade of fighting them, just like that. There was very little resistance. The fact that the power of love and friendship brought zombies back from the dead, I felt like I was watching an anime where a 12-year-old beats up a fully grown man with the power of friendship. And I loved every minute of it. I also love how at the start of the movie there were some zombies that died at work, like the security guard, that even though they are undead, they are still doing their job. I think after 8 years of death, they are no longer paying you. Also, the whole apocalypse thing, I don't think airport security is a big issue. I feel like zombie security would be. If you want to be a zombie bouncer, I feel like that'd be a very high paying job. At one point, Julie and R are bonding and Julie lets R drive a car. I'll repeat that this woman let the zombie that can barely function his muscles properly drive a car. The apocalypse ended really quickly. All the zombies were cured and rejoined society, and they even tore down the wall at the end. But the two main characters still look the same age. So did it only take a couple weeks to cure all the zombies in America? There are millions of people in America. Also, how do you teach empathy that quickly? There are some humans IRL who struggle with it. These zombies got a couple of lessons and they came back to life. I would also like to know the long-term effect of going from a zombie to a human. Like, what health issues will these people have after not being alive potentially 8 years? Another thing I noticed, I'm going to assume that zombies do not have good oral hygiene and they don't regularly brush their teeth or go to the dentist. So with that prior knowledge of a lack of oral hygiene, R has not brushed his teeth since he ate her boyfriend's brains and then they kiss. She is kissing her boyfriend's brains. She might even ingest some of her boyfriend. Her dead boyfriend must be so mad. Imagine you get murdered and then your significant other starts going out with your murderer. He's going to haunt those two for the rest of their life. I would. Would they be tried for their crimes that they committed as zombies? Like, they were going around murdering people. But oh yeah, they wasn't in their right mind. They still ate my grandpa's face, so I don't care. I want them in jail. Could they be prosecuted for that? The reason I chose to do this movie because it's Valentine's Day soon, and I decided to make a video about love and how it's the most powerful force on earth. Okay, only when it's convenient to the plot, because if love did conquer all, her original boyfriend that she has seemingly forgotten about by the end of the movie would not have died and stayed dead. He doesn't come back. If love could fight and shield you from anything, he'd be fine. Apparently, a cheesy Valentine card cannot stop you from having your head cracked open like a soft-boiled egg. And I know everyone is going to be upset by this news, but they have not made a Warm Bodies 2. Take a moment to yourself to mourn what could have been. I don't know what they would have made a sequel about, but you know how the sequels are always the best ones. No sarcasm whatsoever. What will we all do without more zombie romance in our life? And that will be the end of this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I'm going to assume you enjoyed it because you've been watching this video for 10 minutes, so unless you hate watched it, it for 10 minutes. I hope you had a fun time hating. I don't know. I hope you all had a fantastic day. I hope your head does not get cracked open like a soft-boiled egg too. And that will be all. Goodbye.